26th of May. This is Dave Schroeder. This is my video. Just because Donald Trump is full of shit and lies all the time doesn't mean that the deep state doesn't exist. The deep state has existed for a long time. Whether or not they're after Donald Trump, doubtful, considering that now with all of the immigrants, they're stealing their kids and putting them into child trafficking. Just like what we saw in Penn State with Sandusky, just like we have seen the tens of thousands of children disappearing from CPS, just like we saw in Omaha, Nebraska. You know, who do you think I mean, obviously, there is a secret group of people doing all kinds of secret things. The CIA, you know, there's a reason why people don't trust the government. And it's because it's full of child traffickers, you know? It's a lot of money. And it's been going on forever. And to say that large-scale conspiracies don't exist, we're starting to realize that that has been bullshit all along. I mean, you look at the Catholic Church, what do you think that was? It was a large-scale conspiracy. Of course, now that the Pope has come out and told a gay guy that, you know, oh, you're okay, you're fine just the way you are. I guess that negates everything that has happened in the past with the Catholic Church. You know, really? You know, really? And as far as the deep state goes, just because Trump is obviously guilty of a bunch of stuff doesn't mean that Hillary Clinton is innocent. If that is what we have decided, if one is guilty, then the other must be innocent, then we need to go into the prisons, figure out the one person that's guilty, and then let all the rest out. Because that's the philosophy. I don't like Trump. It's obviously I don't like Trump. But the Clintons have been involved with shit for a long time, you know? And of course there's no evidence because it never gets investigated. Let me remind everyone, those emails that were found on that pervert's computer with his wife that worked directly with Hillary Clinton, there was like 600,000 emails, and the FBI said that they went through all of them and there was nothing there, but they went through them in a month and a half. That means they read one email every 27 seconds, you know, and our government is not that efficient. You know, the people are not that efficient. They're lying to you, but we're starting to see everything that's coming out. The comedian, Comedy Central, who's doing his routine now this summer, calling it the end of days. And he said that a lot of people are starting to think that it's the end of days. So I'm not the only one who seems to think. I mean, everything is going to shit. And I think that America is being tested because the evangelicals and all the Trump supporters, they're all okay with his crap because the economy is good. So basically what that says is they're complicit with evil just as long as they benefit. You know, that's the whole thing. As long as they benefit from evil, then let it go. You know, it's no big deal. Now, personally, I think that Trump is dangerous because I think that he will actually start a nuclear war rather than face his own crimes. And Doug Mesner has written me a series of emails. Just of late, he's now telling me that he's not John Kilrush and he's throwing Emily Thorne under the bus. You know, it's all Emily Thorne. It's all one person, and it's all this Emily Thorne throwing this woman under the bus. I don't know who she is. I obviously don't like her, but I also know she's not working alone. Mesner has worked with her. And he told me, you know, oh, cast your best spell on me. What gives you the impression that I even need to do that? because I am not stupid enough to think that our politicians are not going to investigate themselves, let alone prosecute themselves. And is Trump involved with child trafficking? Well, yeah, in Nebraska in the 80s, in Omaha, it was reported that it went all the way up to the George Bush Sr., Ronald Reagan White House. And so I've always said, well, of course the Republicans are involved with it. When do you think the Republicans turned that cash cow completely over to the Democrats? You know? And why? Why would they turn that cash cow over? Now, that's not saying that the Democrats aren't involved. Everyone who is in the system, who works for the system, has been compromised. Otherwise, they wouldn't be working for the system. They wouldn't, the whole reason why the Republicans are standing up for Trump and they seem so ineffective is that they're just as bad and just as guilty as Donald Trump. That's why they're supporting him. Because if he goes down, they're afraid they're going to go down, that their shit's going to be exposed. And now we have this big push of, let's have Hillary Clinton back. Let me remind everybody that neither Donald Trump nor Hillary Clinton got the popular vote. Because about 35% or less of the population even voted last time. And the people who voted for Donald Trump, a lot of them voted for Donald Trump because they hated Hillary Clinton. And the people who voted for Hillary Clinton because they hated Donald Trump. Most of Americans didn't even bother to vote, because what choice did you have? There was no choices. But this whole thing of just because Donald Trump is talking about the deep state doesn't mean the deep state doesn't exist. The children are already disappearing from the families that they're tearing apart. These immigrants are coming in, they're taking their kids, and nobody knows where their kids are going. Just like CPS has lost tens of thousands of kids, have no clue where they went. The Center for Missing and Exploited Children years ago reported that one child is disappearing every 27 seconds. Do you really think that any of this group gives a shit about you in comparison to their own money and their own power? Do you think that they care about you? That they care if you're eating or if you're paying your bills? Is that what you've learned? Because the economy is getting ready to crash. If you look back at what happened in 2008, we put everything on credit, and now there's no credit. So when the economy crashes, there's no credit to go save us this time. And anybody who has credit cards realizes that debt tears you down. It brings you down. And so I just have to ask some of you, really, you're going to let evil thrive and you're going to do nothing because you think it benefits you in some way, And how does that work for you in your head? How does that work? Because you're being complicit with evil, and they don't care about you. They don't, And so that's my video for the day. I'm just watching the news and I've reached a point where it's overwhelming. It's like we're all living a TV reality show, and those shows are disastrous. Do you really want to be like those people? And this is real life, people. This is real life. And we have everything set up against us. We're getting ready to go into hurricane season again. It's gotten worse every single year. You think this year is going to be any better? Earthquakes, volcanoes. Look at Hawaii. It's interesting because I just watched a movie that was a long time ago. It was 2012. And in the movie, what happened is that the sun sent out so many solar flares that it melted, the magma got all upset, and it changed the whole landscape. That's happening in real life. You know, that we've had so many solar flares that the aurora borealis is now blue, and it's not supposed to be blue. And that's because of the solar flares that are happening. We have thrown out science. You know, we think that opinion overrules science. And when solar flares hit, the Earth's magma absorbs that energy and it affects the magma. It stimulates it. And that's why we're seeing the Ring of Fire the way we are. That's why we're seeing earthquakes in Oklahoma and Kansas, all the way up to, you know, the East Coast. The North American plate is totally active. And is it worth losing your soul over? You know, there can be people who say, oh, well, God doesn't exist. Well, the soul is energy, and the first law of physics is that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. And obviously, our souls are energy. So, I guess, you know, I just look at the world now and the way it's going, and I just shake my head. Because people are so complacent with evil, they're just okay as long as it benefits them. And what does it benefit a man to gain the whole world and lose your soul in the process? That's the question. So, that's my video.